Captain Elena Voss adjusted the straps of her exploration suit as the shuttle hovered above the ruins. The city stretched beneath her like the skeleton of some ancient giant. Buildings crumbling, their windows dark. Streets cracked and overgrown with strange purple foliage that seemed almost alive. Despite centuries of abandonment, the structures carried a strange elegance. They were alien, yet they felt purposeful, designed with intelligence far beyond anything humans had ever built. Elena's heart beat faster. This was why she had joined the Interstellar Exploration Corps, to face the unknown, to find what others feared. Approaching landing zone, her AI assistant, Rin, announced. Its voice was calm, neutral, as always. Environmental scans are stable, though energy readings fluctuate in unusual patterns. Proceed with caution. Elena nodded. We always proceed with caution, Rin. That's what keeps us alive. Her voice was firm, but she felt the same thrill she always did before a first step into history or mystery. The shuttle touched down lightly, sending a small cloud of dust into the still air. The hum of the engines faded, leaving only the faint whisper of wind through broken structures. She stepped out first, boots crunching over uneven concrete. The team behind her, 3 humans, each trained for extremes of exploration, followed cautiously. Their suits glowed softly with sensor lights, scanning the environment for radiation, toxic gases, or unexpected threats. Nothing registered immediately. The air was thin but breathable. Strange but not poisonous. The city was silent, too silent. Elena moved forward, eyes scanning the horizon. The buildings were tall, wider at the base, tapering into sharp spires. Some were cracked, others collapsed entirely. Vines wrapped around the structures like ancient hands, trying to pull the city back into the ground. But there was something else, something subtle. Small flashes of light, almost like reflections, danced in the shadows of broken windows. She blinked, and the lights vanished. "Do you see that?" she asked. Her voice carried, echoing strangely in the emptiness. "See what?" called Jaren, the team's engineer. He adjusted his scanner, the device beeping softly. "Nothing here. Could be some interference, a reflection maybe." "Maybe," Elena said, though doubt lingered. She kept her eyes moving, scanning every detail. There was no wind strong enough to move the lights. Nothing should be causing them. Her stomach twisted. For the first time, she felt the unmistakable prickling sensation of being watched, not just observed by sensors or cameras, watched by something alive. The team made their way toward a massive plaza at the city's center. Towering statues of alien figures lined the way, eroded almost beyond recognition, yet their poses suggested reverence. Elena noticed strange inscriptions etched into the base of one statue. She crouched to examine them, careful not to touch the brittle surface. The markings were not words, not in any human language. They moved as she watched, shifting patterns that made her head spin slightly. "Rin, analyze these inscriptions," she said. Scanning noises filled her ears as Rin processed the data. Unknown language. Patterns indicate communication system based on visual stimuli. Possibly a recording of knowledge rather than narrative text. Elena frowned. "Recording of knowledge? Yes. Information may be transmitted or stored in a way our technology does not yet comprehend. Caution is advised." She rose, brushing dirt from her suit. A shadow flickered across the plaza, moving unnaturally fast. She froze. The others noticed too. But before anyone could react, it vanished behind a collapsed building. "Something's here," she whispered, more to herself than anyone else. "Or we're imagining things," Jaren replied, though his voice lacked confidence. Elena didn't respond. She felt it again, the eyes on her. Invisible, but undeniable. She moved forward, instinct guiding her, ignoring the cautionary alarms, ringing faintly in her mind. This city had been abandoned for centuries. Nothing should be alive here. Nothing, except perhaps something she could not yet see. The team entered a tall, hollow structure that looked like a control tower. Its interior was dark and vast, ceiling high above. Walls lined with panels that flickered with residual energy. The air smelled faintly metallic, tinged with something else she could not name. The scanner lights reflected off intricate engravings, showing images of figures moving, working, communicating, and then disappearing into bright fields of light. Whatever civilization built this, it was advanced, Elena said quietly. Advanced, yes, Rin agreed. But abandoned. Evidence suggests a sudden evacuation or extinction event. Exact cause, unknown. The group moved deeper. As they descended into a lower level, Elena's heart thumped faster. The air seemed to grow heavier, charged. Their lights illuminated shapes that shouldn't have been there, machines with no apparent function, hovering platforms frozen mid-motion, screens showing nothing but static, yet static that almost seemed purposeful. Then it happened. A figure barely more than a shadow moved across the far wall, swift, deliberate, and impossible to pinpoint. Elena froze. She could feel it studying her, mimicking her movements. But when she lifted her scanner, it was gone. "Did you see that?" she asked. "See what?" Marcus, the biologist, replied, though his voice quavered slightly. "Never mind," she said, forcing calm into her tone. "Keep moving." They reached a vast chamber at the base of the tower. It was circular. Walls covered in strange glyphs that glowed faintly. In the center, a raised platform held a device that pulsed with light. The pulsing seemed alive, almost like a heartbeat. Elena approached cautiously. "Rin, what is that?" "Cannot determine," Rin replied. "Device emits energy patterns not cataloged in any human database. Approach with caution." Elena reached out, hesitating a fraction of a second before her fingers brushed the surface. The light flared, and for an instant, she saw something impossible. A pair of glowing eyes staring back at her. Not in a reflection, not in a screen directly, consciously, deliberately. Her hand froze in midair. The sensation of being watched intensified, spreading from her chest to her mind. The eyes studied her, calculated her, and in that instant, Elena understood something terrifying and awe-inspiring. This was intelligent. It was alive, and it was not human. The team gathered around her, unaware of the eyes. "Are you okay?" Jaren asked. I think so," she said, trying to steady her voice. "Let's document everything here and get back to the shuttle. We need to report these findings." As they turned to leave, a low vibration shook the floor beneath them. Panels flickered. Shadows twisted, and the chamber seemed to breathe. Elena's instincts screamed at her to leave. Yet part of her wanted to stay. To see. To understand. "Captain, the energy readings are spiking," Rin warned. "I recommend immediate evacuation." Elena nodded. She had no choice. They retraced their steps, moving quickly but carefully. Every corner they passed seemed to shift subtly, as though the city itself were alive and observing their escape. Outside, the wind carried a strange resonance, like a chorus of whispers. Though the air was empty, the team boarded the shuttle, engines roaring to life. As the shuttle lifted, Elena took one last look at the city. From the tallest tower, two glowing eyes blinked once, slowly, then vanished. "Did anyone else see that?" Marcus asked, pale. Elena shook her head. "No. But it was there. Something watched us. And it knew we were here." The shuttle rose above the ruins. The city spread beneath them. Silent once more. Yet Elena felt its gaze follow them until they disappeared into the clouds of the alien planet. For the first time in her life, Elena felt both fear and exhilaration. Humans had faced the unknown before, but this was something different. Something ancient, intelligent, and waiting. As the shuttle jumped into faster-than-light travel, Elena stared at the stars ahead. She knew the city, the Watcher, would haunt her thoughts forever, and she also knew that humanity was about to encounter something that could change everything. She leaned back in her seat, trying to calm her racing heart. Yet deep down, she could not shake the certainty that whatever watched from the abandoned city was not just observing, they were learning, and humanity had just arrived on their stage. The shuttle cut through the planet's thin clouds, leaving the abandoned city behind. Yet for Captain Elena Voss, leaving was only physical. Her mind remained tethered to the ruins, to the strange energy she had felt, and to the pair of glowing eyes that had fixed themselves on her in the chamber. Something in that city was alive. But it was not just a creature, it was intelligent, observing them in ways humans had never imagined. "Captain," Rin said, its voice calm but carrying an undertone of concern. "Our data analysis from the site is inconclusive. Energy fluctuations remain unexplained, and structural patterns suggest highly advanced technology beyond human capabilities." Elena nodded, staring out at the swirling clouds below. "Rin, keep scanning the city from orbit. I want to know if that presence is still there." "As you command," Rin replied. The team remained silent, each lost in their thoughts. Marcus, the biologist, broke the tension first. "Do you really think it was alive? Like an alien life form?" Elena hesitated. "Not just alive. It was aware. It studied us. I don't know its intentions, but it wasn't hostile, at least not yet. We have to understand it before we can decide what to do." Jaren, the engineer, shook his head. "Understanding something that watches in shadows and disappears? That's not science, Elena. That's madness." Elena smiled faintly. "Science begins where madness ends. If we don't study it, someone else might, and we could lose the chance to learn from it." Rin interrupted them. "Captain, new energy readings indicate increased activity in the city. It appears the entity may be reacting to our departure." Elena's stomach tightened. "Reversing course. We're going back." The shuttle descended slowly, gliding above the ruins. As they neared the city, the changes were subtle but undeniable. Some buildings that had seemed stable before now appeared to shift slightly, corners realigning themselves as if the city were breathing. Faint pulses of light traced along the walls, like veins carrying energy. "Is the city alive?" Marcus whispered. "Perhaps," Elena said, keeping her voice steady. "Or controlled by something alive. Either way, we're going back in." They landed near the central plaza once more. The wind carried the faint hum of residual energy, vibrating through the shuttle's hull. Elena stepped out first, boots crunching against the cracked ground. Her team followed, tense and alert. The plaza was empty, silent, yet Elena could feel it. Eyes on her again. Watching. Calculating. This time, she did not fear it. She was curious. The city had secrets, and she intended to uncover them. "Let's split into teams," she ordered. "Jaren and I will investigate the central tower. Marcus and Lyra, take the eastern wing and record any life forms, organic or mechanical." The team nodded and moved in their assigned directions. Elena and Jaren approached the tower where she had first seen the glowing eyes. Its entrance was open. Blackness stretching like a void. She hesitated, then stepped inside. Jaren followed closely, scanning the walls with his handheld device. The interior was eerily familiar. Shadows clung to corners, shifting as they moved. Panels flickered with residual energy, displaying patterns that made Elena's head spin. The pulsing device in the central chamber, the one she had touched, now glowed faintly, reacting to their presence. "Elena," Jaren whispered. "The device it's alive. Somehow, it responds to us. When you move, the pulses change." One was jar. Elena crouched to examine it. The light rhythm seemed almost intelligent. She held out her hand carefully, and as her fingers hovered above the surface, the pulses sped up, then slowed again, like a heartbeat responding to hers. "It's studying us," she said softly. "It wants to know what humans are." Suddenly, a ripple of energy shot through the room. The walls shimmered, and for a brief instant, she saw forms, silhouettes of figures, not quite solid, moving among the machinery. The shadows mimicked her movements, almost perfectly. Her heart raced. "Did you see that?" Jaren asked, his voice tense. "Yes," Elena replied. "It's trying to communicate, or test us." Back in the eastern wing, Marcus and Lyra moved cautiously through corridors filled with machinery and collapsed floors. The walls were lined with strange inscriptions, glowing faintly as their lights passed over them. Marcus touched one of the carvings, and the glow intensified. A low vibration hummed through the floor. Lyra stepped back, eyes wide. "Something's here with us," she said. "It's observing," Marcus replied. "I don't feel threatened, just aware, intelligent." Suddenly, the corridor ahead of them shifted. The floor tiles realigned themselves, forming a pattern that seemed deliberate. Lights traced lines along the walls, guiding them deeper into the structure. They exchanged nervous glances. "Do you think it wants to lead us somewhere?" Lyra asked. "Perhaps," Marcus said. "Or it wants to test us. Either way, we follow carefully." Meanwhile, in the central tower, Elena moved closer to the pulsing device. Her instincts told her to be cautious, but curiosity pushed her forward. The shadows in the room gathered near her, forming shapes that almost resembled faces, but they dissolved before she could focus. She felt their attention, their calculation. "It's intelligent," she whispered to Jaren. "It's learning about us, measuring our reactions, our choices. It's like it wants to know what makes humans human." Jaren nodded slowly. "And we're giving it the data it wants." The device pulsed faster, and the shadows around them coalesced into a single form. A figure, taller than a human, with limbs that seemed to shift between solid and energy. Its head had no features, only a glowing surface that reflected their movements. It stopped a few meters from Elena, its presence imposing but not hostile. Elena held her ground. "We mean no harm," she said calmly. "We are explorers. We seek knowledge." The figure moved subtly, mimicking her stance, then tilted slightly, almost like a nod. Its energy pulsed rhythmically, and Elena felt a connection not of thought, exactly, but of understanding. The entity recognized her intent. It was aware, assessing, learning. Suddenly, a sound echoed through the tower, a soft, melodic vibration that resonated in their chests. The entity extended one limb toward the device, and the light surged. Images flashed in Elena's mind. The city as it had once been, bustling with life, machines working in harmony with biological beings, knowledge shared freely across the structures. Then chaos, destruction, and abandonment. Elena staggered, overwhelmed. "It's showing us their history," she whispered. "It wants us to understand why they left." Jaren steadied her. "Then it trusts us. At least a little." Jaren steadied her. The entity pulsed again, and this time, Elena sensed an invitation. Not with words, but with intent. It wanted them to follow, to explore further, to learn. The shadows in the room shifted, forming pathways that led deeper into the tower. Elena looked at Jaren. "We go," she said. "Carefully, but we go." Down the corridors, the team's movements became a silent dance with the entity. Every step they took was observed, every reaction measured. The city itself seemed to adapt around them, walls and floors subtly rearranging to guide or test the explorers. In the eastern wing, Marcus and Lyra reached a chamber filled with strange organic forms preserved in stasis. Tendrils of energy intertwined with metallic structures, creating a network of knowledge that seemed almost alive. The inscriptions glowed brighter as they approached. This is incredible," Marcus said, awe in his voice. The entity preserved their knowledge in forms that interact with energy. "It's like a living library." "Franz," Lyra reached out tentatively, and the tendrils reacted, wrapping around her scanner without harming her. Data flowed into the device, translating the alien symbols into visual patterns humans could begin to understand. "They're teaching us," Lyra said softly. "It's giving us knowledge if we can comprehend it." Back in the central tower, Elena and Jaren reached a massive chamber at the core. The pulsing device now radiated light across the room, and the figure stood at its center. Observing, Elena stepped forward, feeling a deep connection, a silent communication forming. "You want to see what humans are capable of," she said aloud, more to herself than anyone else. "We are curious, we are brave, we adapt. We learn. That is our strength." The entity's glow intensified, as if acknowledging her words. For the first time, Elena felt not fear, but recognition. This watcher, this intelligence, had been waiting for someone who could understand. And humans, unpredictable, adaptable, curious humans, were finally beginning to answer. Outside, the wind shifted. The city's pulse seemed to synchronize with the explorer's heartbeat. Elena realized that the abandoned city, long, silent, and empty, was not empty at all. It had been waiting, learning, observing. And now, it had found what it sought. As the team regrouped, a faint vibration hummed through the structure, echoing the rhythm of the pulsing device. The entity moved back toward the core, energy flowing like water, then paused. It turned slightly, guiding the explorers deeper into the heart of the city. Elena took a deep breath. "This is just the beginning," she said. "Whatever is here, whatever is watching, we are going to learn from it. And maybe, just maybe, we are about to show it what humans are really capable of." The shadows shifted once more, a final acknowledgement before the entity and the city guided them forward into unknown corridors, toward discoveries that could redefine humanity's place in the galaxy. And above all, the watcher remained patient, observing every step, every thought, every choice. As humans ventured further into the city long abandoned, learning not only about the aliens who built it but about themselves, the city seemed alive in a way humans could barely comprehend. Every step Elena and her team took was measured, observed, and responded to. Walls shifted subtly. Lights pulsed in patterns, and the shadows moved with intent. The entity, the Watcher, followed them silently, its form shimmering between energy and solid shape. Yet for the first time, Elena felt a strange sense of understanding. They were not being hunted. They were being tested. "Captain, we are entering an area with concentrated energy signatures," Rin announced. Its voice was calm but precise. "Data suggests highly advanced alien constructs. Extreme caution advised." Elena nodded. "Understood. Keep scanning. Let's see what the Watcher wants us to learn." The team moved cautiously through a long corridor, the floor beneath them vibrating faintly with each step. Jaren scanned the walls, fascinated and cautious. These inscriptions, they're not just text. They're interactive, like a living interface. The city is teaching us how it worked and how it thinks. Marcus and Lyra moved just ahead, guiding their scanners over strange devices, some organic, some metallic. The energy pulses reacted to their presence, wrapping around them in soft arcs of light, illuminating symbols and forms that defied conventional science. Marcus whispered, almost reverently, "It's like the city is alive, and it wants us to understand it." Elena pressed forward toward the core of the city. She could feel the Watcher near, its energy radiating subtly around her. It mirrored her movements occasionally, not aggressively, but in a way that made her realize it was observing her thought process as much as her physical actions. "This is remarkable," she murmured. "Humans are finally being recognized by something far beyond our comprehension." Suddenly, the corridor ahead split into multiple passages. Lights traced along different paths, as if presenting options. Elena paused. "It wants us to choose," she said. "Our choices define us. This is another test." Jaren frowned. "Choose carefully, Captain. The city reacts to every decision we make." Elena studied the paths. Each corridor had its own energy pattern, subtle differences in pulse and rhythm. She realized the Watcher was evaluating them, learning not only about their behavior, but also about human intuition, courage, and logic. She gestured. "We split. Marcus and Lyra take the right. Jaren and I take the left. Rin, keep guiding us and monitor energy fluctuations. The group moved into their chosen corridors, tension high but determination steady. Elena's corridor led into a vast chamber, domed ceiling arching above them. Walls covered with holographic projections. Figures appeared, depicting scenes of alien life. A bustling city, energy flowing like rivers through mechanical and organic forms. Knowledge shared freely, and then the gradual decay as something went wrong. Catastrophe, abandonment, silence. Elena stepped closer. The Watcher's presence intensified, and she felt a direct connection. She understood, not with words, but with thought. It wanted her to see the history of a civilization that had once thrived, and why it had ended. They left because of knowledge, and their pursuit of it, she whispered. They abandoned their city to survive their own creation. Jaren studied the chamber from a distance, observing the patterns and inscriptions. It's incredible. They encoded their history into the energy itself. It's as if the city remembers, and the Watcher preserves it. Suddenly, a pulse of light surged from the center of the chamber. Elena staggered, and images filled her mind, visions of the Watcher itself. Vast and sprawling, existing across forms she could barely comprehend. It observed, learned, and adapted. Humans were a new variable it had never encountered. This is first contact, she breathed. Not hostile contact, not communication. Contact through understanding. Jaren approached. Captain, it's responding to you. The pulses are changing when you think, not just when you move. It's interacting with our minds. Elena extended her hand carefully toward the central light. We are explorers. We mean no harm. We seek knowledge. We are human, and this is who we are. The Watcher pulsed brighter, energy radiating outward. Its form shifted, approaching her slowly. Elena held her ground, heart racing, mind alert. The Watcher's energy wrapped around her senses, not harming, not threatening, only observing and sharing. Images flashed again. Humans, small and fragile, yet resilient. Moments of creativity, courage, empathy, and ingenuity. The Watcher measured them, compared them, and seemed to approve. Elena realized it was evaluating humanity, seeing not just strength or intellect, but adaptability and heart. It's learning, she whispered to Jaren, learning what humans are capable of. Meanwhile, Marcus and Lyra were in their corridor, following the guidance of glowing paths on the floor. They entered a chamber, where alien devices hummed with life, interwoven with tendrils of energy. Marcus reached out, and the energy wrapped around his scanner, instantly translating alien symbols into visual patterns he could understand. It's teaching us, Lyra said softly. It wants to share knowledge, but only if we can comprehend it. Marcus nodded. It tests us first. Only those who can understand, adapt, and think beyond instinct are allowed further. Back in the central chamber, Elena and Jaren continued their cautious advance. The Watcher moved with them, occasionally merging with the walls, sometimes hovering just ahead, its glowing form like a guide. The chamber's domed ceiling revealed intricate patterns, showing the rise and fall of the alien civilization. Their technology integrated with biology, their knowledge encoded in energy fields. Elena's mind raced. We are seeing the potential of a species, Jaren. Not just machines or structures, but an entire civilization's memory preserved in energy. The Watcher is the custodian of it all. Jaren nodded. And it's choosing us to understand. It's giving us a chance that no human before has had. As they reached the center of the chamber, the Watcher paused. Its energy pulsed in complex patterns, almost like a heartbeat, then split into multiple forms, each observing the team's movements, mimicking subtle gestures, and testing reactions. Elena understood. This was not a single entity, but an intelligence expressed across forms, flexible, adaptive, and patient. It's preparing us, she whispered. It wants to see how humans respond to the unknown. how we adapt under pressure, how we think. A sudden surge of energy rippled through the chamber. The walls shimmered, and Elena felt herself lifted slightly, weightless, as if the city itself were responding to the Watcher. She realized the city and its guardian were one, a network of intelligence that extended beyond physical form. Jaren held her arm. "Captain, it's safe, but powerful. We're walking into something beyond comprehension." Elena nodded. "We are human. That is our strength, curiosity, courage, adaptability. That is why we are here. That is why it watches us." The Watcher pulsed again, brighter this time. The multiple forms merged into one, taller than a human, limbs shifting fluidly between energy and structure. Its presence radiated calm, yet commanded attention. Elena stepped forward, holding her hand up in acknowledgement. The Watcher responded, not with words, but with understanding. Energy flowed from it to her mind, sharing fragments of thought. Observations of humanity. Evaluations of resilience, curiosity, and morality. Elena felt their thoughts and memories intersect, not invasive, but collaborative. She realized then that the Watcher did not judge humans as weak or dangerous. It saw them as unpredictable, creative, capable of choices that machines or predictable life forms could not anticipate. That unpredictability was their strength. Outside, the city seemed to pulse in resonance with the chamber. The shadows shifted, forming pathways to new corridors, new chambers filled with knowledge, preserved energy, and tests for the humans to navigate. Elena understood. This was not a single encounter. It was an ongoing evaluation, a partnership being initiated between a species long gone and the humans standing in their place. Marcus and Lyra joined them at the central chamber, carrying scans and data from their corridors. The Watcher observed them all, energy pulsing rhythmically, integrating the new information. Elena spoke softly. "We are ready to learn, to understand, to show what humans can do." The Watcher moved closer, energy enveloping the team gently. For a moment, the chamber was filled with light, and Elena felt the city's intelligence wrapping around her thoughts, syncing with hers. Knowledge, history, understanding flowed through the pulses, revealing both the rise and fall of the civilization that had built this place. "It's teaching us through experience," she said. "Through observation, interaction, and trust. Not words, not language, but understanding." The Watcher pulsed one final time, energy forming an open path deeper into the city. It was an invitation, not a command. Elena glanced at her team, all eyes wide with awe, fear, and excitement. She smiled faintly. "This is it, the next step. We go forward together." And so, the humans followed, moving into the heart of the abandoned city, guided by the Watcher, learning, adapting, and showing what made them truly unique. Curiosity, courage, and the ability to face the unknown with open minds and brave hearts. For the first time, the Watcher understood humans not just as creatures to observe, but as a species worth attention, worth teaching, worth integrating into the history it preserved. And humanity, in return, began to understand that they were stepping into a legacy that spanned beyond comprehension. A civilization's memory entrusted to their hands. The city pulsed around them, alive and waiting, yet patient. The Watcher led, and humans followed. Each step a test, a lesson, and a revelation. The abandoned city was no longer silent. It had awakened, and with it, humanity's journey into a greater understanding had only just begun. The path before them glowed faintly, illuminated by pulses of energy that seemed to flow through the walls and floor like liquid light. Elena led her team cautiously, feeling the presence of the Watcher close, guiding and observing without interference. Every step carried a weight of awe and responsibility. The city that had long lain silent was now alive with purpose, waiting for humans to prove themselves worthy of its secrets. Marcus and Lyra moved silently beside her, scanning the energy patterns and inscriptions that adorned the corridors. The alien scripts had begun to make sense to them in a way that was almost intuitive. The city was teaching them, not through language, but through interaction. Every pulse, every light, every shift in the walls carried information. "This is incredible," Marcus whispered, his eyes wide as a tendril of glowing energy stretched toward him. "It's sharing knowledge. Not in words, but directly. Almost like it's embedding understanding into our minds." Lyra reached out, touching a wall as the symbols glowed brighter. "It's showing us their history, their achievements, their mistakes. Everything the Watchers preserved is here. They trusted us to see it." Elena nodded. "And they trusted humans because we are unpredictable, creative, courageous. We face the unknown and adapt. That's why it watches us." The corridor ended in a vast chamber, higher than any building they had seen on the planet's surface. The ceiling was a dome of shifting energy patterns, displaying the rise and fall of the alien civilization in breathtaking holographic projections. Cities pulsed with life, machines and living beings interacting seamlessly, knowledge flowing freely. Then disaster struck, the visuals shifted to chaos, collapse, and abandonment. Elena's breath caught. "They left because of a catastrophe," she murmured. "Not failure, not war, but something that made survival impossible. And the Watcher preserved all of it." A low hum filled the chamber, vibrating through the team's suits and bodies. The Watcher's form appeared before them, taller than before, radiating light and energy. Its shifting limbs and glowing surface reflected a kind of intelligence that transcended physical form. It moved closer to Elena, and for the first time, she felt it communicating directly. Not with words, but with understanding. "You see us?" she whispered aloud, though she knew it did not need words. "You see humans as we are, curious, brave, resilient. We are small, yes, but our strength lies in our mind, our heart, and our choices." The Watcher pulsed rhythmically in response, energy flowing into the chamber like a river of light. Elena realized then that the Watcher had been evaluating humanity all along, not for strength or dominance, but for potential. Humans were different from any life the Watcher had studied before. They were unpredictable, capable of creativity, empathy, and courage in ways the Watcher had never encountered. Rin's voice interrupted her thoughts. "Captain, energy readings indicate the Watcher is extending a form of invitation. It is opening access to the core of the city's knowledge. Proceed with caution." Elena turned to her team. "This is it. Whatever is at the heart of this city, it's ours to see, to understand. If the Watcher trusts us enough to show it, we prove that humanity deserves to learn." They stepped forward together, moving toward a massive structure at the center of the chamber. It was a crystalline formation, glowing with internal energy, rising like a spire of light. As they approached, holographic projections filled the air, showing data streams, technological schematics, and images of the civilization itself. Marcus gasped. "It's everything. Their science, their art, their knowledge." This civilization was beyond imagination. Lyra reached out tentatively, and the tendrils of energy wrapped gently around her scanners, feeding information in a way her mind could grasp instantly. "It's sharing, all of it. We can understand, learn, and use this knowledge." Elena focused on the Watcher. Its energy pulsed in complex patterns, almost like a heartbeat. And she understood the intention clearly. It was offering humanity a place among the legacies of civilizations that had come before, not as subordinates, not as servants, but as equals in curiosity, courage, and potential. "Humans are ready," she whispered. "We can learn, we can adapt, we can grow." The Watcher responded with a surge of light that enveloped the team. In that moment, Elena felt every mind of her team link with the Watcher's intelligence. Knowledge flowed into them, not just data, but understanding, intuition, and context. They saw the rise and fall of the civilization, the choices made, the mistakes, and the lessons embedded in every structure. "This is more than knowledge," Jaren said, awe in his voice. "It's wisdom, preserved across centuries, entrusted to those it deems capable. The Watcher shifted, forming a bridge of energy that led upward into the crystalline core. Elena understood the meaning. They were being invited to ascend, to witness and absorb the civilization's legacy fully. She glanced at her team, determination shining in their eyes. Together, they stepped onto the bridge. The energy pulsed beneath their feet, carrying them upward toward the core. Holographic projections surrounded them. Images of science, exploration, culture, and art, flowing like rivers of light. They saw the achievements of the Watcher's creators, the civilization that had built the city, preserved its knowledge, and designed the Watcher to observe and protect. "This is beyond human imagination," Marcus said softly, overwhelmed. "We are seeing a civilization's mind." Lyra nodded, tears in her eyes. "And it trusted us to witness it. It recognized our potential." Elena felt the Watcher's presence around her, not controlling, not demanding, but guiding. She realized then that humanity was being recognized not as weak, not as small, not as insignificant, but as a species capable of greatness. The Watcher had studied them, tested them, and finally acknowledged them. The core of the city pulsed with energy, and Elena understood the final message. The Watchers of this city, long gone, had left their knowledge to be understood by beings capable of growth, creativity, and courage. Humans had proven themselves worthy. She turned to her team. "We have been entrusted with this legacy. Not because we are perfect, not because we are the strongest, but because we are human, curious, courageous, capable of learning and understanding." The Watcher pulsed once more, and a gateway opened within the crystalline core. Beyond it lay paths to the stars. Knowledge of technology, energy manipulation, and understanding of life itself. Humanity had been given a choice: to remain observers or to take the next step and explore. Guided by the wisdom of the past, Elena took a deep breath. "We go forward. Together. We will honor their legacy, and we will show the universe what humans can do." One by one, the team followed her into the gateway. As they passed through, they felt the city's intelligence envelop them, sharing, guiding, teaching. They were no longer merely explorers, they were students of a civilization that had transcended its own world, entrusted with the secrets of the cosmos. Outside, the abandoned city pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat. The Watcher's form shimmered above it, a guardian and observer. The city had waited centuries for a species worthy of its legacy, and humanity had arrived. The silence that had blanketed the ruins was replaced by awareness, connection, and purpose. Elena turned once more, looking at the city beneath her. "This is only the beginning," she said softly. "We are human. We learn. We adapt. We grow. And now, the universe knows it too." The gateway pulsed with energy, and the city's presence extended outward, invisible to the naked eye, but tangible to those who could feel knowledge and understanding. The Watcher observed the humans one last time, recording, analyzing, but with approval. Humanity had passed the test. Humanity had been recognized. And for the first time, Elena felt the truth of it fully. Humans were not just survivors. They were explorers, learners, and now, participants in a cosmic legacy that spanned civilizations. The abandoned city, once silent and foreboding, had become a beacon of human potential, a testament to courage, curiosity, and the ability to face the unknown with open minds and brave hearts. As they prepared to leave the planet, the shuttle lifting into orbit, Elena knew one thing clearly: humanity had changed forever. The stars no longer held only the unknown, they held opportunity, knowledge, and recognition. The Watcher, and the city it had preserved, had shown them that humans were capable of greatness beyond imagination. And somewhere, in the silent spaces between worlds, the Watcher waited, patient and observant, ready for the next time humans would prove their worth, ready to see what these small, brave, curious beings could do next. Elena leaned back in her seat, looking at the stars stretching before them. The city faded below, yet its presence lingered in her mind. Humanity had been recognized. Humanity had been tested. Humanity had been trusted, and the universe would never look at humans the same way again.